with that emphasis of the first team rugby and me knowing I could make it, if I had left and not reached playing at that level, I wouldn't have fulfilled like
part of yourself.
Yeah, because from your 8, you kind of just told like that's the end goal, to play first team rugby at this school. Like that's where it ends. And most definitely that was one of the biggest factors for me staying, was because I was playing rugby. And at 15 years old, my family left. My mom, stepdad, and my brothers moved to Australia. And then again, I stayed in South Africa completely alone. And all family gone, and hostel during the week, and then stayed on my own on the weekends.
Okay, episode, I'm not sure.
Do we just go straight into it?
What do you want to do?
Oh my gosh! That is the best start. We're so thrown this as well. That is the greatest start.
Explain this how it works.
All right, well, are you ready now?
Now I'm ready. Now we can go.
Fuck, I want that in there. So
I thought he was
I'm going to put that in there.
testing the mic or something, but it's like, episode. I was like, fuck,
I'm just doing my rap battle.
fell off your chair at the back there. Oh my god! All right.
Alrighty, so we have Cade Robertson, who is he's a great friend of ours. We haven't known Cade for that long, but oh man, ever since meeting Cade for the first time, I've wanted to have him on the podcast, and you will understand why momentarily. So what we'll do is we like to take a bit of a linear pathway where we start and looking at your story, bro. Like, I think all throughout your life there's a Pandora's box to open, if you will, of stories and details, but
and a different view on, growing up obviously in another country, which we'll dive into.
Yeah.
So crazy. Even what we were just talking about before, to have this different perspective really makes me realize what we've got here and how good we've got it, So
yeah, hell of a lot of perspective. But so let's dive into it, and I won't mention anything here. I'll let you do that. Give us a rundown of firstly, give us a rundown of what you're doing now, like where you're at currently in your life. You've moved over to Australia from South Africa, which we'll dive into. But where are you at the moment?
Currently, just obviously new country, new places, new things. Just trying to get on my feet, learn the ropes of the new country, learn how everything works, make friends. Met you guys, met a bunch of the other guys. It's been great so far. New job, dive into that and just better myself, obviously. For those that know me know, I try competitive bodybuilding. Get into that and just basically still learning the ropes of everything, the country, getting into it.
Especially the language. There are many ways to say so many different things, and half of them don't make sense, and it's so funny.
Although there's one thing you say, I was popping over the other day to grab that bench, and you were saying when you coming through, at what time will you come through?
Oh, yeah.
Like in saying like, what time will you pop over sort of thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, coming through. It's like he's trying to like stand up. Let's go. I was like, oh, big boy.
God,
So
Australians, you guys just abbreviate everything. That's the hardest part for me. Is
We don't even realize it. Yeah, absolutely. So, bro, let's start from the beginning. Like, you grew up in South Africa. Give us a rundown of where in South Africa you grew up, and those early years of your life.
Yeah, so I was born in Durban, which is more of a coastal town, city. And at an early age, my parents weren't married or anything. They were just together. Had me, and at a young age, my parents broke up, split up, and my dad moved overseas to England. And don't really know what happened with the breakup, but in the beginning, I didn't have much contact with him. It was just, he lives there now, and it's just me and my mom. And we moved from Durban to Johannesburg. it's about 6 hours apart, so different cities, completely different. Yeah. And it was just her and I. So from young, just me and my mom and my dad overseas, I could see the relationship hadn't ended nicely. And yeah, just didn't have contact with him. So from a young age, I kind of just had to be on my own. And I mean, by that age, I'm talking younger than 6, but I can still remember like it being just me and my mom. And then my mom got together with another guy who they were together for quite a while. And he, I guess you could say, raised me in my early childhood years. But then they split up as well. That breakup ended well. He was still in the picture. He still kind of raised me and gave me the guidance I needed, but still was on my own. Didn't have, you know, like most guys can go home and there's their father, but didn't really have that. And then my bit older now, maybe like 10, 11 years old, and my mom met her final boyfriend who she then got married to, first marriage, and they're still together and married and living here. But yeah, from a young age, I kind of just learned how to be on my own and didn't really have a father figure. I had father figures in my life to give me guidance, but not anyone that I saw or call dad. Like I still don't call anyone dad, and just, yeah, basically straight off the bat had to learn to be on my own, I guess.
Do you have a relationship with your father?
Now I do. So after that, eventually things settled down, and me and my dad always did try to contact me, and we got into contact and have a good relationship. He actually, it worked out pretty well. He moved to England, lived there my whole life. He was in England and we were in South Africa. And then we'll dive into when my parents left to Australia, but my mom came to Australia and he also moved and immigrated to Australia. So
Oh, so he's in Australia as well now?
yeah. He lives
wow.
up on Terrigal, just a couple minutes down the road from where I am, which we like was never planned. And we never, when he moved to Australia, he didn't know where my mom was moving or living, and it just happened that they both ended up on the Central Coast and now live. Yeah, and we have a good relationship. Like I do go see him on the weekends and stuff like that. But
man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What was, because you moved to Johannesburg, is that where you went to school from there?
Yeah.
Primary
So
school and into high school?
the rest of my life lived
Yeah.
there
What was that like?
Yeah, different. So I'll dive straight into the high school. That's more where everything is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I went to an all-boys high school, and to us, at the time, now I can see it's different, but at the time, South Africa was what we knew. Like we thought that's how life generally was.
Sure.
And coming here, I see that it's completely different, but there's more of a lifestyle and culture of just hardcoreness, like just you got to get it done, like just do your work and move on. Or if you have a problem, like you just fucking deal with it and keep going. And the school I went to was that exact mentality, like just all boys school, strict, hardcore. Like you get in there, you stay in line, you follow the rules, and that was that.
And that was for studies and sport?
Yeah,
as well?
so it was a very sport-based school, and the sport was of a really high standard, and because of that, there was a lot of pressure on us to perform well in sport and partake in sport. And I've never really dived into it, but the way the school worked was a big hierarchy system, which was basically you come in. So for us, high school's different. It starts in year 8,
Right.
and it ends in year 12, not in year 7 like here.
Yeah.
And so for us, grade 8, you come in and basically from the start, you're told you nothing. Like the principal tells you, the teachers tell you, the prefects tell you, everyone above you tells you that you're nothing and you're at the bottom now. Like don't expect anything, and like you're at the bottom of the food chain and just deal with it, whatever comes your way. And I mean, to us, that was normal. Now I can see how it's different, but that was normal life. And if a year 12 came to you and told you to do something, you did it. And if you didn't, you usually got bashed.
Yeah.
And it was common knowledge, like everyone knew, and just that's how things were.
Well, did anyone ever, say in year 7 or year 8, did anyone ever step out of line, or was that very well cemented?
They did, but then it was really well cemented, and they would get sorted out quickly by the years above them, and then you wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
And like if you were constantly stepping out of line, they would like basically be on your case and sort you out until you either left the school or step back in line.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of knew their place and stayed.
Was there a big emphasis on footy? Was that
yeah, rugby
mostly
was
the sport?
Probably it was seen, so playing first team rugby was definitely seen as the biggest achievement in the school. Like and it was constantly said that the first team rugby captain will be more respected than the head boy, the leader of the school.
Right.
And it was true, and that was the biggest thing. And there was always a big build up to the first team rugby, and the whole school it was compulsory for the whole school to watch the first team rugby games.
Yeah, right.
So they would all have to get dressed up into uniform, ties, blazers, long pants, and stand in the sun for the full game and just watch it on a Saturday afternoon.
How many kids were there in the school?
About 1,200, 1,300.
Yeah,
about
right.
that.
Solid,
Made for a good atmosphere.
Yeah, we would have just for like the year 12 teams, it would be first team down to 8s. And we would have 8 teams per age group. So under 14s, there would be 8 teams. Under 15s, like 8, 6, 7, 8 teams.
Shit.
So it was never just A, B, and C. We had guys playing in the G team and the E team. Like, you had to play sport. You didn't go there and not play sport.
Yeah, okay. Wow. What was the culture like in that school? I mean, surrounding the footy and stuff. Like, because I've spoken to you about this before, about you feel the need to go to the gym and be fit and to not only fit in but survive in a sense. I'm guessing the gym and exercise was very prominent in the school as well. When was it introduced for you?
Oh, straight from the get-go, basically. Year 8, you came in there and you had these expectations. If you wanted to be anything in the school, you had to succeed physically. And there was a big emphasis, like I said, on sport, and which obviously translated to physical ability and physical appearance. And I mean, in a school like that, when you've got these year 12, 11s, 10s like above you, you're going to want to be physically bigger and prepared to deal with what's coming, especially when you're scared.
Yeah. Where did you eventually sit in the hierarchy, going through, obviously year 7 you're at the very bottom and whatever, but within that space, where did you sit? Were you naturally quite solid as well anyway, so you had that respect, not so much from year 12, but you earned that? Yeah,
I did. I was definitely one of the bigger guys coming in, and just also my presence, I think. I was never one of the guys at the bottom of the food chain. I was always within my year, I was towards the top. I went at the top, but towards the top, and never had too many issues in that sense. Yeah. But
especially coming into the later years, how were you academically?
Strong. Not strong, but did well. I got bachelor's passes. I got A's for most of my subjects and did well, but obviously there wasn't as much of a high standard to get good grades for. And I do think the rugby guys got a little bit of a preference, like because I was playing, I played A team throughout the school and then eventually first team, and you could see the teachers treated us a little bit better. Like I might say a speech and it's not as good as the other guy, but I'd get an A.
Yes,
like,
so interesting.
We often heard stories of guys would fail, but they would get pushed through the year because they were good rugby players. Like, and they needed them to
team success depended on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense too, because I guess as a school as well, there is a lot of emphasis, like you said, in the US, like with your NFL teams, like you've still got to academically do well in order
yeah.
to make the teams and whatever. So I guess when they say that you're gifted in that, for the school's sake, it's probably better for the guys who are naturally gifted or who are skilled to push them above the ranks and give the best chance. When I came into high school, there was I think 1,300 kids, but that was male and female, and I'm trying to imagine the same size school with guys in South Africa. Can you give us any stories about, because surely fights every day?
Oh yeah, there were so many fights. There was all boys school, and then we had the boarding school. Because I was a boarder, I stayed at the school throughout the week. So would come there on a Sunday night and leave on a Saturday afternoon after my game, go home for the weekend, and then
the weekend one day at home
Saturday night, and then you back at school Sunday night. Sometimes Monday morning. You could come Monday morning if you like, but you're back at home those nights, and then back at the school for the week with all the guys, sharing dorms, sharing hostels, and there was definitely a lot of built-up aggression and testosterone in the school, and just there was fights on the daily. I remember there was organized fights. Guys would have a problem with each other. So say year 8 or 9 has problems with each other. Year 12 would hear about it and say, we're meeting down by the pool. First, we only had one break. Meeting down by the pool at break. Go there. He's the ref, and they bash it out and sort each other out. I was involved in a few fights.
I was going to say, that was my next question. Couldn't imagine that thing coming at me. You win, bro.
A few fights, but it was always definitely a pride thing within the school. That's what all the fights were about, was just the pride alpha male thing.
And that's it. You put a bunch of, what are we, year 8, like 14 up to 18-year-olds in a school, that many of them,
ground.
Where they are literally like, not almost forcing it upon you to try and be the best that you can be physically, academically. There's going to be some egos in a space like that, definitely.
There'll be a hierarchy within a hierarchy, and
sure.
What did the teachers do about it?
Unless it was blatantly obvious happening in front of them, they kind of stayed out of it. Like, you could say they turned a blind eye to some of it. Like, it was just.
Did you notice a difference in independence? Because I feel like what you've been through with your father not being around at a young age, going through pretty much your whole schooling life on your own, if you're only going home to your family once a week, did you notice a difference in independence between you and other guys your age?
Oh, most definitely. Straight off the bat, I could see guys struggled to do things on their own. They didn't know how. They struggled to manage by themselves, and also a sense of maturity, I think. Like, I always felt that some of them were immature in some situations just because they couldn't handle things by themselves. You could see that they couldn't be on their own. And there was times in high school where I was almost outcasted from the popular groups. You could say I was always at the top, but I was kind of outcasted, you could see, because I'd been through different scenarios in life, and I guess I was at a different stage in life to what they were.
Interesting.
Is what I personally see it as. It could be something completely different. They could have just thought I was a dick, but
knowing you, bro, it's not that. Trust me.
But definitely there was a difference in.
That's so interesting, because there would be so much resilience as well. So to have that not being able to cope alone, and especially in the boarding scenario, you're constantly surrounded in a group mentality, but then to have that stripped away from you, it's like everything you know is gone.
We had a few guys where like they would have to go home during the week like crying because they just couldn't do it. Like they couldn't handle being away from their families and everything. Did you sleep? Like, was it, because it's like, I'm trying to picture how it would actually be, and like,
School
especially
camp, when you're just dicking around at night time.
Oh yeah, you're just sleeping one day and then a pillow fight, which probably in that scenario wouldn't be with pillows. It'd be probably more intense.
It did happen. Like we had the prefix around where our rooms where we would sleep, and obviously guys being guys, we would muck around all the time at night and whatever. But then when it was time to go to bed, like they made sure we knew it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
And if you mucked around after that, like you were sorted out. There was times like, you know, those metal coat hangers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those like getting squeezed together, two of them and taped together, and then just getting hit with those. Like if we were made
Yeah.
a noise at night, like you just get fucked up with one of those.
Yeah.
Or
That'd sting.
other types of
That'd
punishment.
sting.
Like, yeah. it was
100%.
That's crazy. Coming out of school, you went through right till you're 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. What? Where'd you go from there?
So, well, I'll go back when I was in year 10. That was probably one of the first biggest challenges I had to face was my parents decided they were going to leave South Africa. And they obviously sat down with me and told me they were deciding to leave, and it was because I had two younger brothers, and the country just, as most people know, isn't good. Like, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and they could see that there was no future for them as young kids in the country. So I was 15 at the time, and they sat down with me and they were like, we leaving, they said, we immigrating to Australia. And I remember going to my room and having a think, and I was just like, I can't go with them. Like I think it was a lot to do with the school system. Most definitely the school I went to, I'm not going to give the name in case I say anything bad, but was a big part of my life and formed who I am now. But with that emphasis of the first team rugby and me knowing I could make it, if I had left and not reached playing at that level, I wouldn't have fulfilled like
Part of yourself.
Yeah, because from your 8, you kind of just told like that's the end goal to play first team rugby at the school. Like that's where it ends.
Interesting.
And most definitely that was one of the biggest factors was for me staying was because I was playing rugby. And at 15 years old, my family left. My mom, stepdad, and my brothers moved to Australia. And then again, I stayed in South Africa completely alone. And all family gone, and hostel during the week, and then stayed on my own on the weekends. And eventually made first side rugby and played for the next 2 years. But then to your question, in year 12 ended, and that was the next decision. So the original agreement with my mom was I'd finish high school, come across to Australia at the end of year 12 and start my studies. And got to year 12 and just sat down and was like, I'm not ready to go. I think it was more a fear of the unknown, but had to now make another tough decision of what's next, and kind of just sat down and was like, I feel like I can still get more out of this place and myself. And at that point I've lived on my own for 3 years already and felt independent, felt like I could do my own thing. So I made the decision to stay in South Africa longer and go ahead to university and start studying my first year. My mom wasn't happy about it, but
Oh, how was that conversation?
it was really tough. The first conversation was tough, telling her that I'm not going to. I remember at 15, my mom telling me I don't have a choice. Like, I'm going with them. And I would sit there and I'd be like, how are you going to get me on the plane? Like, what are you going to carry me on the plane? Like, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was. So that obviously put a bit of a dent in our relationship.
Sure.
With now the only one who was there from the whole time was my mom. And
Now that you're here, does she understand where you were at that time?
I think so. She always supported me in everything, in all my decisions and who I was. But at the time it was tough. And then the second time, even tougher in year 12, I remember phoning her and just saying, I'm going to stay here and study here. And she was just distraught, like so upset, saying that's not what we agreed, like it's not better, the life is better here. And obviously, like I said, living there, you think that's normal life. Like I didn't think Australia was better than South Africa. Like I didn't think the lifestyle would be better. Or
when you have no comparison, it's hard to make that decision.
I'd come here for holidays, but it's not the same. You come here for 2 weeks and you don't see what life's like. I would be coming to no friends, don't even know what shops to go to if I want to buy certain things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That was the second tough decision, is telling her I was staying again.
Yeah.
And then I went off to university to start my first year.
Yeah. And what was that studying?
The sport and exercise science at University of Pretoria. So now that's another city, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Central Coast in Sydney. So I was in the Central Coast studying, and I've gone up to Sydney to
still
study for uni.
okay.
Yeah. So it was like 40 minutes to an hour of where I would usually stay, and where I went to school.
Yeah.
On support systems, was your girlfriend on the scene at this time?
No, so she came on the scene at university when I got there.
Okay, so you met through uni?
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
And then...
And tell us a little bit about your girlfriend.
Yeah. Regan, for those that don't know, I haven't seen her on my Instagram. But in the beginning, they put us on... So I stayed at Res at uni, and they put us on floors of degrees. So I was on the Bachelor of Science degree because I was studying a Bachelor of Science.
Right.
And on my floor, I remember walking in, didn't know anyone on my floor. Then I knew one guy who went to primary school with me, but I haven't seen him in 5-6 years' time.
Yeah.
But like walking in, and it was me, 3 other guys, and then about 6 girls on the floor. And I walk in, and Regan was there. She'll kill me, but just straight faced, like no emotion, not giving anyone any attention, like just not an inviting face at all. Like I didn't feel.
What do they call the resting bitch?
Yeah,
face?
that's exactly. Like I didn't feel like I could go speak to her. I was like, let me just go to my room and I'll sit up there. Like just such like no emotion. You could just see, like I could see if I went to speak to her, she was just gonna tell me
the brush. Yeah.
What a love story. Yeah.
But,
I thought you were fully gonna say the opposite. I walked in and there was this girl. Her eyes, man. Her eyes.
Straight away, even one of my mates that we went there, close mates, he met her and he was like, "Yo, no, she doesn't seem friendly." I was like, I also don't think I'll speak to her too much. And then we eventually built up the courage, introduced myself, and she spoke to me, whatever. And from there, we actually became best friends. Like, I was dating another girl at the time. That relationship I was in was a bit of an immature one and an impulsive one, I think. Like, to be honest, I think I was so used to being alone and isolated with no one around me that I was looking for
any comfort felt good.
Just looking for a relationship, looking for a partner when I didn't actually feel the connection.
Fuck, that's interesting.
Like I was so used to being in solitude that I just wanted someone, I think. And anyway, while I was dating that other girl, met Regan, we became best friends, did everything together. If I was going to the shops to buy groceries in the morning, like she was with me. When I was going to the gym, she was with me. Like you could say platonic physically, but I could feel that there was something there. Like nothing ever happened between us, and everyone thought that we were dating. Like everyone would think there was something happening with us. We were best friends, and eventually one night something just happened, and I could feel the build-up was there, but because she was so unemotional, I didn't know if she reciprocated those feelings. But eventually, we got together, and nothing changed. We just remained best friends, but now we were in a romantic relationship as well.
Sure.
That physical,
Yeah.
the physical side just came about.
And yeah, it was just, I'd been in a few relationships as well, but almost all of them were bad, like just toxic. And just, like I say, I think it's because I was more seeking a partner and to not be alone than a reason for the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's brilliant.
That, still there, still going strong.
Still going strong. How long ago was that? How long have you guys been together?
Over a year. I remember at some point we celebrated our 1 year. She reminded me, but
Yeah, right. True. I forget that you're actually so young.
yeah.
I forgot that.
fully.
I thought you were 26. Anyway, when did you decide? Because obviously you wouldn't have completed your degree.
No.
What happened? When did you decide to move?
So then I obviously started studying my first year, spending time with Regan, just everything, and I started prepping for my first bodybuilding show. And while I was prepping, you get what's called prep brain, I think. And it's like, you're just not thinking straight. Like, you're on such low calories, such low food, such high training. You're just not thinking straight anymore. And I remember just lying in my room and thinking, I need to get out of here. Like, I need to move on with my life and just kind of start fresh. Like, there was so much history with people and guys in my school that I didn't get along with, and I just needed a fresh start with everything. And it took me suffering through a prep and being alone to realize that. And that was towards the end of last year that I decided, and I then had to break the news to Regan saying I was moving. And she tried to stay strong, and at first I remember she didn't believe it. Like, she thought I was just saying it and I was just prepping and not knowing what I was saying. But then I booked my flight, and when I told her my dates, then I could see it set in with her. Like,
Sure.
it was maybe about 3 or 4 months prior. And that was when it set in for her and for me. And it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but we kind of just ignored it until the date came.
Yeah, sure.
Try to carry on with normal life.
What take us through that prep, because how far into it you stepped on stage, right? Yeah. How was that for you? Like, take us through when I guess from when you decided that you were going to compete.
Yeah. So, oh geez, we're gonna have to rewind all the way back now to high school. But
Let's go on the time machine.
Yeah, flashbacks are good.
Yeah.
in the high school, obviously, I made the first side when I was in year 11. In the first side, out of 15 players, there was 2 year 11s in the side. So it was me and my best mate, Fatty. That's what everyone knows him as, because he was very fat. So I hope he listens to this. I hope he listens.
We love you, Fatty.
Me and him were the only year 11s in the side, and that was challenging, a lot of pressure. But eventually, that same year, when I was 17, I played for the under-19 Lions side. And then I thought that was where I was going to go. I thought rugby would be my future, my career, and just my life, because that's what I loved at the point.
Yeah.
Got a bad injury in year 11. Played the season year 12. Played the season again as an under-18. Just got worse and worse, never got it fixed. At the end, second last game of my final year in school, just messed my shoulder up. Got so bad and I couldn't play rugby again. That was a very tough time. Like, sitting and trying to think what I was going to do with my life. I just felt lost. Like, had no idea what to do. And I buried myself in the gym, I would say. Like, I couldn't play rugby, but I could still gym. I could still train. So I just started going to the gym every day and just working out more and more and more and doing research on it. And it kind of just became my safe zone, I guess you could say. Just, that's how I dealt with my emotions. I didn't know what was going on in my life. I didn't know I was lost. I was alone. I was lost. The reason I stayed in the country was to play rugby. And now my family's gone. My dad's overseas. I was alone, and the reason I stayed was rugby, and that had just been taken away from me at that point. And that's when I just went to the gym and started training. And I think that's what led into it, because I remember those December holidays, just following all the bodybuilding pages on Instagram and just looking more into it and like watching the shows, and just I was intrigued by that because I am very competitive. Like I always want to take it to the extreme and be the best. Like I wanted to play first team rugby, and now that I was gymming, like I wanted to take it a step further. Like I'm competitive, so I want to compete in that space. And I guess that's when I decided to start a prep for a show. I was 19 at the time. No, 18 at the time.
Yep.
Would have been 19 when I stepped on stage. And I looked into that, and I guess it also attracted me because you're alone. It's not and that's what I was used to. No team, like it's just me, and I got to do the work, and I got to man up and
Did you have a coach?
I did. So, but it was all online based. So he would just send me my plan over the phone, and I'd get it done. Send me my diet, send me my training, and I do the rest.
You do it all.
And make sure that you're the one showing up.
Yeah.
With that intensity.
How was that? How was that mentally for you, especially in the? I mean, I'm not sure what probably the most grueling part mentally and emotionally. I would think that it would be leading up to stepping on stage, where things get extremely strict.
Yeah.
How was that for you? How was that? Because you weren't with Reagan at this point.
No.
You weren't with Reagan. What was that like? Because at that point too, like your mind's playing tricks on you. Yeah. Sure, you also don't have a team around you.
Yeah.
Either.
It was challenging because when I started my prep, the uni culture in South Africa is a big party drinking culture. Like we had student night every week, and every single night there was a party. Like there was a place that was called the Strip, and those that are in Pretoria know. And it's just 3 clubs back to back, 4 clubs back to back. No entry fee, cheap drinks. Like it's like $1 a beer. I've told you guys. And like $1 shots, and
we're getting rorted here.
Yeah, we're getting fucked up.
It's just crazy, and like every single night you just party, get drunk, and go to lectures hungover the next morning, and that's life. Like it's just a big party, and everyone just looks forward to it, and it's just a whole year of partying.
The discipline to go against that, bro.
Yeah,
that
so
would be tough.
That was probably the biggest challenge, was deciding on that prep, and then having to step away from the culture of the university and the lifestyle that everyone else was living. Because all my mates that I had were just going and partying every night, and everyone was just partying every night. And I decided to do that prep, and it was a big step to where I stepped into just me again. Once again, I found myself on my own, and it was a big mental challenge because I've now stepped out of everything, and everyone kept partying, and now I isolated myself. But then once they saw that, they also kind of obviously isolated me and carried on with their lifestyle, and I just had to suffer through it by myself. And it was a big mental challenge for sure. The waking up in the morning and everyone else is passed out hungover, but there I am up at 5 to go for my hours cardio.
Yeah,
and then,
shit.
Like at night, 5 o'clock, they're all getting ready to go party, but I'm cooking my 6th meal for the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a big challenge for sure.
I feel like with the experiences that you had from when you, like I said before, like when your father left, that independence that you obtained through your younger years paid dividends when that time came for you to step on stage.
Yeah, most definitely. I had mates that were trying to prep for shows as well, and I just saw them fall off, like they just couldn't do it.
Whilst trying to
they were still going to the parties and saying that they prepping for a show saying that they're a bodybuilder, but I would see them every night going and having a few drinks.
Doing
and
the contrast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a big mind battle for myself. Like,
Yeah.
I questioned my choices a lot, if I was doing the right thing, if it was for me, if I could handle it, and had many a breakdown in my room by myself, just like felt so alone.
Yeah.
Meeting Regan helped all of that, because we met got together during my prep, and it definitely helped. But like you said, it was challenging, and with the brain fog, decisions were just hard to make. Relationships were destroyed. Like
Yeah.
a lot of my friends, we didn't have the relationship we had anymore. Especially, I had a close group of friends, and kind of lost all of that because they carried on with the partying lifestyle, and I kind of took.
It makes you question what the basis of the relationship was on.
For sure.
Was it because you were able to go out and just party together?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. And also with that masculine environment where it's almost a proving ground where you are as well. That hierarchy system that was in high school, and not necessarily like your 7 to 12 or whatever, but just the whole culture, did that carry through to uni? Was it very
not
broody?
as much. It was more. It was more of the focus on the partying. So everyone just went to party. There wasn't really a hierarchy between first years and third years. Or anything like that.
Yeah. Cool. So now, I mean, coming forward again into making that move to Australia, how was that? Like, how first leaving that day when you left, and then coming to Australia, did you go to your mum?
Yeah. So the build up was quite tough. That obviously, by the time we got to like 2 weeks until I left, Regan and I were now counting down the days. Like spending every day together. From my show, which was in August, we spent every day together. I don't remember a day when we went. We were basically living together, like on the same floor. We just moved in together, and I stayed at her house on the weekends because I didn't have a family to go. Well, my parents to go back to. My aunt and uncle were still there, but didn't have my parents to go back to, and basically spend a lot of the time with her. And that last few days were tough. Like once again, obviously questioning my decisions, my choices, trying to think what life was going to be like without now this person that for the first time the relationship felt right. It felt like I had found the right person. We had never had an argument. We still haven't. Like it just, everything just seems to click and work. And what was my best friend? So, is my best friend.
Sure.
Before.
Save. Good.
But that last day was very emotional. I remember waking up early, and her family took me to the airport because my parents couldn't, and my aunt and uncle were busy. But took me to the airport, and we were just kind of sitting there waiting for the flight and leaving it as long as we could. Like the last minute I would go through and head off. But very emotional, and just saying goodbye to each other. And now we know our lives are going to be completely different from that point.
I feel for you, bro.
Yeah.
Resonates big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't speak from experience, but all I can do is imagine. And fuck. What was it? What was Australia to you? Because you said you'd visited before.
Yeah.
Moving in, I guess those first couple of weeks, really trying to just work everything out, and or even the first couple of months. What was it like? You there was obviously uncomfortability around it. It's very foreign. How long did it take for you to kind of settle?
A long time.
Yeah.
For a while, I wouldn't even leave the house. Again, the first thing I did was find a gym. That I couldn't deal without it. Like that was my safe space. I remember just that's all I wanted to do was train.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to deal with everything that was coming at me. But the original move was tough. The first maybe 5 days were okay because you're still settling in, you're jet lagged, you don't really know what's going on. But after that, it hit me like I knew no one. I didn't know the country. I didn't know, like, it came down to things like if I want to get food, I don't know what shops to go to. I'm hearing all these names, but like I don't know the difference between Rebel and Coles. Like, I don't know where to go to buy food. I don't know, and all of that just adds up. And I found myself very anxious and emotional. And there was so many nights I like phoned Regan and like I had a fallout with my mom, like just crying and screaming like I made the wrong choice. I need to go back home. Like I'll pay for my own tickets. And she's saying, no, just like see it out. And I was like losing my mind and just angry at myself, angry at everyone, like upset. And just...
This was it October last year?
December. I moved. Yeah. So about Jan.
Wow.
I was struggling the most.
Yeah.
And
then COVID hit.
Well, when I got here, it was the bushfires first.
Fully.
Then it was all the flooding.
Yeah.
And then it was COVID.
I swear when we linked up that first time, was it not December? Or maybe I'm thinking too far back. Or was it this year?
I would have...
Yeah, I swear it was.
It was this year when we
March.
grabbed coffee. Because I went to New Zealand for a little bit.
Okay.
Then when I came back, but we would have seen each other in December at Impact, but we never
because
spoke.
this motherfucker broke the gym. This guy walks into the gym one day and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Who's this beast?
Big Geo dude. In the Pokemon.
Literally.
This big ass rock. I love it. Yeah, because I was going to say, I remember when it was around the time, bit after we got back from Melbourne and we started the runs up and Mitch said to us, so we've got Cade, he's going to come for a coffee and you weren't going to run.
Yeah, no.
And then...
Not at that time, but we brought him around.
Yeah, he came around. Came around. Had you met anyone or really found anyone before that time? Because we were in lockdown as well, so it makes it doubly hard.
Not really at all, if I'm honest. Like I met one or two guys at the gym, but no one that you would make plans, like no friends, like no one that you're going to send a message like, oh, let's go do this or meet up on the weekend. Or
Sure.
No one, like I often thought to myself, like if I had to get tickets for a rugby game, who am I going to take? And like I didn't have anyone. Like that's the thoughts that were going through my head. Like once again, I'm with my family. I've got that now, but I don't have anything else in life. I've lost everything else I knew, friends, relationships. Then obviously met Mitch, and I remember he invited me to come down on a Sunday for coffee. And I was phoning Regan. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go. Like, because I'm not a lot of people know, but I'm shy. Like I don't like stepping out of my comfort zone too much. And eventually I just took the leap. I was like, you know what, fuck it, this feels right. And I went, and that's what kicked everything off. And now I obviously met you guys and the rest of the...
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that, like how was it stepping into that and what was that... Because from there, I mean, Mitch being part of Impact as well, that would have opened up relationships and made things easier. What was that? Where were you at that time? Because when we met you, I mean, we obviously never know what's going on in someone's life. Yeah. Where were you at during that time?
Yeah, that alone, like I was facing a lot of challenges. Like I was originally going to go to uni in Sydney, to the University of Sydney, and then I switched to Newcastle at Arimba campus. So I was dealing with that stress of switching and now going to a new uni, and I was getting pissed off because I didn't know the course or the uni like I did back home. And so again, that led to me thinking it was the wrong choice. And then when Mitch invited me, I was still at the point of knowing no one, knowing nothing, and just emotionally freaking out, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't working at the time then either.
Yeah.
So, and my parents were working up in Sydney. So I would just sit at home alone all day and do my uni work, and that was it. I had no one to talk to because of the time zones. So the when I woke up, probably about 6 a.m. our time in Australia, everyone in South Africa would go to bed. And so the whole day, I would just sit there like nothing to do, no one to speak to. And just, that was the time when Mitch brought me into the group was a tough time. And I don't know how things would have gone if I didn't come to the coffee that Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. What did you decide to do? Because you said you were going to go to Sydney for uni. What was that? What was the first actionable step you take? Was it a job that you got? Did you start studying?
So I went up to Sydney for the open day. So I'd been from South Africa, applied to the unis, and I got accepted at the University of Sydney, Newcastle, some places on the Gold Coast. All the ones I applied to, I got accepted to, and I chose the Uni of Sydney just because it looked like the best option at the time. But obviously from South Africa, I didn't know, like, to go from the Central Coast to Sydney, you like have to get on a train or drive for a while. Or
like 2 trains and then walk.
So I didn't know that when I made the choice, and I got here and I had to go up for the open day. And I remember getting on the train at like 6 a.m. and sitting there for all these hours and then getting there and then coming home. And by the time I got home, it was like 7 p.m. and I'd only been at the uni for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's when I was just like, I can't do that. Like, where am I going to fit in my time to gym? I still was planning to compete this year. So that's when I made the first step of sorting my life out, was going and switching to Newcastle. At the last minute. So that was stressful as well because applications had closed. So I was going in and didn't know who to speak to. Because I didn't know how the system worked. I didn't know what to do, but trying to switch,
And came, I'm guessing around the same time, position at Impact?
Yeah, so then did a few months studying, training, started prepping for my show that I was supposed to do this year, and then decided I was going to do my personal training here on top of, because personal training certs from South Africa I don't carry across.
Right.
And decided I was going to do it here, but I had to get some job experience. So I went and asked Impact, because that's where I was training, if they could let me do some experience down there, and did, I think, 3 days there, just working and doing everything they wanted. And after that, they offered me a job. Like, I didn't apply or anything, but they just... I mentioned that I was looking for work, and they said, well, come through for an interview next week because we like the way you work and everything. Then I went through and got the job working at the gym.
Yeah, epic. And it's led to where we are now.
Yeah,
pretty much. Which is incredible.
How are you now?
Settled down. Much better headspace than what I was in the beginning. I'm starting to back the decision I made. It's still, there's obviously still always going to be that bit of doubt, like, was it the right decision? But seeing the way the country is going back home, because one of my main reasons to leave was because the country was just getting worse and worse, and I wanted my family to be in a safe space. So much better off now. And
I'm interested to get an understanding, and through small stories that you've told me, and us, like, it's opened our eyes, and I think it's very important for people to get an insight into that. I touched before on things like safe to run on the roads, and not have to worry about that. Leaving your phone on the table at a cafe, also having coffee on the beach, things like that. Give us a bit of an insight into what life is like.
It's just, it's different. I don't even, like, it's just the crime rate is so high. It's just not safe. Like, we don't have many houses freestanding on the road. Like, and if you do, there's a wall between the house and the road. There's no houses where the lawn just leads to the house. Like, every single house has 4 walls around it and electric fences, barbed wire fences or a complex. So I know Regan lives in a complex where it's a big security gates to get in, and then there's all the houses inside there, which still have walls around them individually and electric fences individually. And it's just, I feel like when I came here, I finally released it of living in a constant state of like readiness, like anxiety ready.
All the time.
Constantly, like Regan would tell me, because it's obviously different for females and males, worse for the females, but still for males. At school, we were told constantly on announcements that we can't call an Uber outside school to go home. Like we must call it while we're in class, because standing outside the school grounds, if you stood there on your phone, cars would come past, the guy would jump out, grab your phone, get back in the car and go.
Yeah.
And it happened. I saw it happening.
Even to like kids in year 8, 9.
It was the year 8, 9, 10's phones getting stolen.
They were the easy targets.
Because you would stand there ordering an Uber, like doing your PIN or whatever. A guy would run past, snatch your phone, keep running and get in the car, and your phone's gone.
Shitty Uber service, isn't it?
And like going to parties, there wasn't a time where people's phones didn't get stolen. It was always, you would go to the party the next morning, you wake up, everyone's stories are, phone got stolen, DM me here if you want to talk. Like my phone got stolen a couple times, and I know a lot of people's phones did, and everyone's got a robbery story. When my parents were living in South Africa, our house got broken into and they got robbed. I think that was one of the factors of them leaving as well.
Right.
I think one of the craziest ones that you told me, and this blew everything out of my head. I was like, what the hell? When you were in a car crash.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a little insight into that, because
I was driving home from uni the one weekend and got into a car accident on the highway. My car flipped, roof crashed in, and I was stuck inside, obviously, and I kicked the windscreen out, the window out, and dragged myself out of the car, bleeding everywhere. And I saw guys running over like from the side of the highway, and thought obviously people are coming to help, but they came to loot my car and not help me. So they came to try and just take everything from the car and steal what they could from the now damaged car. And left. I was just lying on the highway bleeding out, and obviously distraught, didn't know what was going on.
Sure.
Eventually some people came and chased them away and helped me out, but that was that's
a whole other world, man.
And it's often spoken about where the ambulance will get to a car crash and they'll be helping the patient, like keeping them alive, and they'll get mugged while they are helping the patient. So people will come out with guns and knives, steal all the ambulance equipment inside, mug the ambulance, and the paramedics just mug them, take all their stuff while this guy's obviously bleeding out, dying out. And
Jesus,
that's how it would be. And it's just, it's completely different. Like you saw us shared the message on the group before the one run, where I sent Regan a message saying, would you go for a run at 5 a.m? And she was like, maybe if I wanted to get killed or something, she would. And that's the reality, is you can't go at any time, but more so when it's dark or by yourself. You just can't go out alone. And yes, it was yesterday, Regan was at her sister's house, and middle of the day, 9 or 10 in the morning, bright, her sister said she was going for a 40-minute run, and it had been 50 minutes and she wasn't home. And it was at the point, and even I still feel, I was like, well, you got to go look for her. Like it's not just you can wait at home for them to come. They might have stopped for a coffee. Like the first orders, something's happened. They've been taken, they've been mugged, or
literally fight mode constantly.
Absolutely.
You can't walk anywhere alone. And
that amazes me, that even, at the physical stature that you are, you still wouldn't. Yeah. Imagine how ladies feel over there, Yeah,
absolutely.
Our res, where Regan and I stayed, was not even 100 meters to the university. Like 30 meters from the front door to the uni, 30 meters. And she couldn't walk so say a test finished at 6 at night, couldn't walk from the uni back there alone. 30 meters up the road, she couldn't walk alone. She would either call me or wait for a friend to walk back with her, or me pick her up. And it's not even a minute's walk.
Yeah.
That
I can see why you want to get her over here as soon as possible.
What's her thought process around it?
she's fully the same
Just
mindset
waiting.
I have. Like
Just trying to get over.
Funny enough, before we met, she wanted to end up in Australia. Like
Yeah, right.
Her goal was to move to Australia before she even knew I had family here or I was moving here. So it's a plus side.
Yeah.
She'll-
Yeah. There's no convincing her.
How significant has a support network been for you to get you from, say, where you were December, January to how you are now?
Oh, crazy. Like that first men's night, I said I'm not used to opening up or having trust in people around me. Like I'm so used to being alone and closed off and just me, and having you guys and the support of Bridge the Gap has just opened so many doors that I never thought to myself. Seeing a different me, it's seeing what I can achieve in life and like who I am is just insane. Like I wouldn't have been able to switch my mindset if I didn't have the support network, and I guess like break down my walls and lean into what I would have seen as weakness of relying on other people, and you know what I'm saying, like leaning into the support network.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fascinating with when you come into school. It's like, one, you don't have that, but two, your only goal is to achieve the best in footy, and then that's it. It's like that's all you're there for, and no one thinks outside those walls. And I think when we do break those walls down and we do learn who we are, our possibilities expand and our potential expands, and how we not only view the world, but how we view our path and where we can go and what we can do and how we can do it expands. And I mean, the world's your oyster, but I think it's so. I don't think I'll ever realize how much strength it took for you to come over here. And it sounds like, I mean, it makes sense that there's still a transition period there. And I think when Regan makes it over, I think that'll obviously make things much easier in a sense as well. But yeah, I mean, it's hearing your story, like you said, the support network that we've provided you, but I think the perspective that you've provided us is, along with a couple of other guys who we have a part of that group, is just like, it's broadened my perspective massively, and it just, we're empowering each other. I want to say equally, but I feel like I have been empowered by people far greater than what I believe I've empowered people, and that's only my opinion. But I don't think anyone realizes how much power they can have to help, and having you a part of that, like for people who have never stepped foot outside fucking Central Coast, like that's what I always argue, is that experience, that life experience is so crucial. And although I probably wouldn't have wanted to go to high school in South Africa, hearing it from you and the conversations that we always have and on the runs and just in general, it allows me to go, yeah, damn, like this is a pretty cool place. This is a pretty cool place, and we've got a great network and great lives, and a lot to be grateful for.
Definitely a big difference between
yeah,
South Africa
and just stuff that you said to me, bro, like having a coffee on the beach is something that you were never used to, and being able to run on the road like without fearing for your life, and just hearing those stories just make me just open me, just make me, bring me to the present and go, all true. Like,
and that's priceless.
That's
To have
priceless.
that sort of insight, we can't go back in time and try and get that insight, you know. But you, with the knowledge that you have from being in that sort of place, that's the impact that you can have on people, man. And you're having it.
Yeah, absolutely so. And with that, there's so much strength, like physically, because you're a beast, but more importantly, emotionally and mentally. So
you're breaking the stigma around that idea as well.
Yeah,
gentle giant, I like to think of you as, and
absolutely,
it's like our 4 pillars of strength that we were talking about before. You're not just, you know, physically strong, emotional, spiritually, you know, like all these things, man.
Yeah,
it's good to see.
What's next for you? Where are you heading?
Finishing my studies. Number 1. Number 2 is just keep on trying to get Regan over here, because she was supposed to come in June.
Yeah,
but then COVID hit and decided to change those plans. So number 2 will just be getting her here, finishing my studies, and trying to just show her the difference between South Africa and here, like that there is a normal life, because in South Africa we think the way they live there, haven't dived into it, but is completely different to here, and just showing her that it's different and it's safe here. Like, you can live your life as a female or whatever. You know, finishing my studies and moving on.
And we will be having a party when you get here, Regan. We will have a big one. Under 20 people because of COVID.
Yeah,
but
I have balloons waiting.
Yeah,
I have balloons. What's your favorite color?
I don't know, pink, purple.
I got pink balloons. I got purple balloons. Pink and purple
any
balloons.
color you want.
Thank you for sharing that insight, sharing your story, sharing everything. There's there's some big things coming for you. I can see it, I can feel it, and I just hope that Regan gets over here as soon as possible, and I feel like that's somewhat just that little missing piece to the puzzle of everything. So we've got everything crossed, and I think we'll until then we will just support each other as much as we can, and
live the good Aussie life.
Live the good Aussie life with a hell of a lot of perspective, which I know you've given. I mean, and hearing those stories for the first time as we did, like, I just remember being like, fucking hell. Like, it just changed everything for me in weird ways.
Sad.
Yeah, a lot of power in it. So, bro, we thank you, and good luck with everything. And everyone make sure to follow Cade. Where can people find you through social media?
Just Instagram, Cade Robertson X, Cade with a C, C-A-D-E.
Cade Robertson X. Just a little cute.
Cade Robertson was sadly taken by someone who doesn't even post photos. But
how rude.
So what a waste of a name.
That's a big waste.
You're the real Cade Robinson.
Absolutely.
Dude, we do thank you massively. It was
Thanks for having me.
You jumped on here pretty quick for us. And you're a little bit nervous and you crushed it, man. People are going to take so much out of that. So much, especially a lot of the boys. So appreciate it, dude. Legend.
See ya.